Have you ever heard of women in refrigerators? It's a term coined by comic writer Gail Simone in 1999 to describe specifically what happened to one hero's girlfriend, and generally something that happened to varying degrees to female characters in comics over and over again. The Green Lantern at the time, Kyle Rayner, had an ongoing feud with villain Major Force. Major Force went to Kyle Rayner's apartment, found his girlfriend Alexandra DeWitt, ended her life, and stuffed her body into a refrigerator for the hero to find when he came home. Simone recognized that there were a lot of comic book stories where female characters would be killed, assaulted, depowered, or experience immense tragedies, usually with permanent consequences and finality. This was being done mainly for shock value for readers and as a motivating agent for male heroes. The trope has now become known as fridging. Well, fridging still goes on today, and not only in comics. You can find it in film and television as well. I have other terms I like to use, such as boxing or shelving, which I prefer for non-death events. I keep fridging for instances when a female character dies for no reason other than to motivate the hero. Let's take a look at 3 relatively recent examples. I would love it if you would leave a comment with examples of your own, as there are so many. While you're at it, feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed this video and consider subscribing to my channel for videos on entertainment topics of all kinds. First, fridging. I liked the first Deadpool movie very much. The character was accurately realized on screen. An interesting iteration of the X-Men was introduced, allowing for those versions of Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead to return in future films, and the door was open to expand this new universe into something larger. Then came the sequel, and it was all tossed away. The characters I most wanted to see more of, Colossus and Negasonic, were sidelined for most of the film. Deadpool recruited a new team of joke characters, all but one dying immediately at the start of their only mission. The one who survived, Domino, was interesting, but totally underused and not present towards the end of the movie. I won't get into why I think the film went in this direction, except to say that Ryan Reynolds had a lot of story input. Anyway, the worst element of the script was what happened with Deadpool's girlfriend, Vanessa. Blown up at the beginning of the film, she serves as a ghostly figure that Deadpool keeps encountering as he just wants to perish so he can be with her. But she doesn't allow it. A strong and independent character in the first film, someone equal to Deadpool and his true love, Vanessa was fridged from the get-go and played no significant role in the plot aside from being motivation. Classic fridging here, and another reason I didn't like Deadpool 2 very much. Domino got some screen time and had interesting things to do, which makes it feel like the writers, Ryan Reynolds, couldn't handle having more than one strong female character with agency in the movie. Anyway, there is your example of fridging a prominent female character. Now, let's look at 2014's Godzilla. Joe Brody and his wife Sandra, played by Bryan Cranston and Juliette Binoche, are nuclear engineers and researchers working at a nuclear reactor in Japan. An accident happens, resulting in the tragic death of Sandra, leaving Joe to raise their son Ford alone. Later, the adult Ford, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, is estranged from his father, but gets pulled into a series of events that uncover the truth behind the accident that took his mother when he has to go back to Japan to retrieve his father. All fine so far. The problem for me anyway is Ford's wife Elle, played by Elizabeth Olsen. She's a nurse and the mother of Ford's son, and that's it. She hugs Ford, kisses Ford, takes care of their son, answers the phone a few times, is imperiled and gets on a bus, and has no real impact on the story in any way. In fact, if Ford were single and had no children, the entire plot would have unfolded just as it did. I think the only reason to include a wife and son was to make a low-effort parallel to the situation Joe and Sandra faced at the beginning when the nuclear accident happened. However, the script doesn't emphasize this parallel, and it really has no bearing on anything that happens. I mean, you get an actress with enormous range and talent, and you shelve her as a wife and mother whose only role is to be in peril a little. What a waste! So much more could have been done with an actress of that caliber. Why not make her Ford's younger sister, who has no memory of their mother due to her being so young when the initial accident happened? Why not make this sister be their father's main supporter, fully invested in his quest for the truth? Why not make this sister the one who calls Ford and asks for help when their father gets arrested in Japan? Why not have this sister use what she has learned through the time she spent helping their father and give her an active role in dealing with the giant monsters that appear later in the film? Now that would have been making full use of a female character and an amazing actress without needing to deviate too much from the events in the plot. But no. Elizabeth Olsen was just shelved. I have to shake my head. Now for the last of my terms. Let me show you someone who was boxed. This is a very recent example as of the making of this video. In Season 2 of the reworked Doctor Who, we meet Belinda Chandra. Right from the start, during her interactions with her then-boyfriend, we learn that Belinda is not someone who will be forced into traditional gender roles. She expresses no interest in getting married and having children simply because elements in society feel it is a woman's role. A time skip reveals that Belinda has become a successful and capable nurse, living with flatmates and handling a challenging career with gusto. Blam! Space robots whisk her away to a planet named after her, where she meets the Doctor. She recognizes his knowledge and experience and assists him in dealing with the threat at hand. Later, aboard his TARDIS, she's offended when he scans her DNA without consent, and, recalling someone on the planet who didn't make it, someone the Doctor promised to travel with, tells the Doctor directly that she is not one of his adventures and she wants to go home. A reluctant companion who stands up to the Doctor and plays an equal part in solving the mysteries at hand. Refreshing. This slightly adversarial element to their relationship continues, diminishingly so, over the next 2 episodes, but is mainly abandoned after that. The season wraps up with a 2-parter, Wish World and the Reality War. What do we find? Belinda and the Doctor are trapped in false identities as a married couple with a daughter, someone else's wish, and that person's image of normalcy. Belinda is freed from this illusion in the final episode, but still remembers and cares for the fictional daughter created by the wish, and wants to protect her. The Doctor tasks a genius acquaintance with building a zero room, a special chamber cut off from the rest of the universe, and has Belinda and the daughter hide there while the major threats are taken care of. Yes, Belinda is literally put in a freaking box for what is the climax of the entire season. At least it's not a fridge, I suppose. Anyway, the baddie is dealt with. Belinda and the daughter come out of the box. The daughter lingers but disappears, having only existed due to the now-ended wish. And the Doctor sacrifices his own life to nudge the universe just enough to allow one more life in it, the daughter's. We end with Belinda having no memory of ever being married to the Doctor, yet caring for her daughter, now from an unnamed boyfriend, while still thriving as a nurse. Yes, our strong and independent character, who wouldn't let traditional expectations be forced on her, spent the last 2 episodes trapped in a fictional relationship as a wife and mother, and now lives out a changed reality where she is a single mom, after hiding in a box for the main fight. What a way to end this character's run. This is not who we were promised at the start. So disappointing. There you have it, the fridging, shelving, and boxing of female characters who had a lot more potential, completely underutilizing those characters and the actresses who played them. This happens all the time, and the reflexive backlash against this by studios, writers, and directors is often something false and forced, like the all-female Ghostbusters, some cynical attempt to balance the bad with the worse, by creating something with supposedly strong female characters in what looks more like an attempt at getting good press coverage. Anyway, if you have your own examples of female characters getting mistreated in such ways, please leave a comment and share them. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like to let me know, and consider subscribing to my channel for more videos on entertainment topics of all kinds. Thanks for watching. See you next time.